We are 22S Radio, the next wave of K-Beach. 22S Radio, that's 22smedia.com, and 88.1 FM KKJZ HD3, Long Beach, Los Angeles. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I'm just trying to make sure that the red lights are on. Yes, for recording. If this is your very first time tuning in to the Golden Spotlight, a little bit about the show is this show is a interview talk show with sort of like a biography theme. One of the cool things I like to do is, I firmly believe that, we as students become inspired when we hear the stories, the journeys of how people got to where they are today, and I like to mix it up and get people from all kinds of professions and, get their life story, find out, how they got to where they are now. Because, there's always chances that all of a sudden they had to change a heart every, just like us at school. Maybe we changed majors and stuff like that, You never know. Something may happen, you may encounter in life, and you're like, I want to totally do something different in life after all. I want to go a whole different way. So at this time, I'd like my guest to please introduce himself.
Hi, my name is Martin Wurst, but I go by Marty, and I am a comedian in Long Beach. I was born in New Jersey in 1980. I'm 38 years old. And I moved to California when I was 18 to pursue acting, and things didn't quite work out that way.
So, tell me about life growing up in New Jersey.
Well, this is the interesting part, I guess. I was only there until I was 7, and then my parents decided to pack up and move to Hawaii. So, pretty good upgrade, not bad. So when I was 7, we moved to Maui, and I went to high school in Hawaii. It's an amazing way to grow up. And everyone asks me if I surfed. I never surfed, I never tanned, and never fully took advantage of paradise. But I did make a lot of amazing friends, and I still have family out there to this day. And yeah, Hawaii's great. And I still know how to do the hooky though. Oh, we're going to do the hooky though. Hey.
So from what grades did you do, were you there?
Let's see, so from second grade until I graduated in 1998. I also took a break in Colorado for a couple years. My parents got divorced, so I spent a couple years with my mom in Colorado. And then I went back to Hawaii to finish my junior and senior year. And I got the acting bug, and I was involved in theater a lot. I was one of those weird theater kids. And I started writing my own one-act plays and writing a lot of short stories, and I was always a weird goofball. So that's the one thing that's been kind of constant in my life is comedy. So I would eventually go back to that, but at the time I thought I really wanted to be like an actor or a filmmaker. So after I graduated in Hawaii, I moved to California and went to the New York Film Academy program, which they used to have at UCLA. They had like a summer workshop. It was just like 6 weeks, like boot camp, kind of like filmmaking. You learn everything in 6 weeks. And we made like 3 films on like 16 millimeter cameras. It was just like right before everything went to digital. So I'm so grateful I got to like actually like cut film and really edit and on like the old school editing days. And yeah, after that, I was just like, oh, do I move to New York or do I stay in California? I decided on California. Went to acting school at the Stella Adler Acting Academy, and then I took film and video classes at Los Angeles City College, and just started making a bunch of ridiculous short films and with my friends that I made at Stella Adler, all these acting buddies. And yeah, it was weird. When I was 18, I dabbled with the idea of like wanting to get into stand-up comedy, and I made up a routine and I tried it out for my coworkers, and I just bombed in front of them for like 5 minutes, and I was so humiliated that I decided, no, I'm not going to do stand-up. And then So that was when I was 18, and then when I turned 33, after a bad breakup, I was like, I think I'm going to give that stand-up thing a second chance. And this time it stuck. I've been doing it for 5 years. It's weird. I feel like it's been my calling all along to do stand-up comedy. But it took a lot of failing in different areas to figure that out. Like I made a feature film back in 2007, like a really independent film, and it took 2.5 years of my life to complete it, and then another year just to like edit it and get it into a couple film festivals. And the movie never saw the light of day. It's no distribution. I kind of see it as a personal failure on my part. I just wasn't ready to take on something like that, and I didn't have enough help, and I was too scared to ask for help. I was like, oh, I can do this on my own. It'll be fine. I was like, it'll take 2 months to make this movie. And then like 2.5 years later, my actors / friends were like, I don't think I want to do this anymore. You're not paying me. So I had actors drop out, and yeah, it was pretty tough. I think I really strained a lot of friendships, and I can't blame them for not wanting to talk to me. Not everyone, but it was just a rough time, and that's a lot of volunteering for free. Just like I asked for 1 million favors to do this movie. But anyway, you guys don't have to worry about it. You'll never see it. It's locked up in the vault. But now you can see me do stand-up comedy. I work at a comedy club in Huntington Beach called the Rec Room, and it's a great club. It's only like a year old, and I'm a door guy there, and I do spots there. But I also go up to LA a lot and try to spread out and do like, I don't know, 5 to 10 open mics a week, just to warm up with new material. Got to stay sharp. And just never mention filmmaking to me again, because I just start to cry, and I'm like, what did I do with my life? But yeah, sometimes you figure out what you want to do later in life, so I don't think there's any shame in it. I'm really excited to be doing what I'm doing now.
Cool. Yeah. We'll be right back after this quick break.
I love it. They talked it all the way through the first segment.
Did you know that 71% of students at Long Beach State receive financial aid? In 2016, Long Beach State awarded 12
Hope that was all right.
Yeah, it's good.
Ramble.
Not only that, each
I'm
year,
just wowed by the whole new setup too. At the same time, I'm like, oh, whoa, where's what?
leaving no barriers.
Because before, like, they look different, the microphones too.
We know no barriers.
And we would look for the sticker, and the sticker would tell us what number of the microphone to
Oh,
push.
yeah. Do you want me to... Is there a minute left or no?
Yeah, there's like a few seconds left. I'm still playing another
Oh,
one.
just a few seconds? I was going to grab water because I know my mouth is kind of sticky with...
Yeah, I'm going to play another one.
Okay, I'll grab water real quick.
1 in 5 students on CSU campuses experience food insecurity while in college, according to a study commissioned by CSU Chancellor Timothy White. The Associated Student Beach Pantry operates as an official food pantry for Long Beach State students. The pantry provides non-perishable food items for students in need. Also housed in the beach pantry is the Student Swap Shop program, aimed at providing students with an opportunity to swap unneeded or old school supplies. The Student Beach Pantry exists on the generous donations of students, staff, community, and corporate giving. To donate, visit asiCSULB.org and search Beach Pantry.
It's so funny to have all this glass right here.
Hi, I'm Natalie Valdez.
The other week, my teacher caught me doing my show, and she's all waving. I'm like, oh my gosh, I actually have one of my teachers watching me.
We'll break apart media objects.
She's like grading you out there.
In an attempt to understand the messages behind the content we consume. What elements best tell the story? Why do audiences react the way they do? We'll be asking these questions and more to get behind the narrative.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Golden Spotlight. I'm your host, Rob Flores, here on 22S Radio, located at California State University, Long Beach. Once again, this is the time where they always remind us, to introduce ourselves in case somebody's just tuning in. So once again, can my guest please introduce himself?
Hi, I'm Marty Wurst. I'm a Long Beach comedian, 38 years old.
Cool. So you mentioned that you ended up deciding to go into comedy. I would like to know who talked you into it. Um, did somebody like dare you? What was that first open mic like?
Oh man.
Yeah, I think I made an agreement with my friend Matt Sauter that we were both going to do it. It's just like, we got to do this, man. We'll do it together. And he bailed on me. And I think I just needed the distraction because I just had a really bad breakup. So I was just like, I gotta do this thing and take my mind off of it. And yeah, if you need there's no better distraction from heartbreak than like getting up in front of people and talking and trying to make them laugh. I mean, it's pretty brutal. My first open mic was I did research because I was like, I want this to be easy. Like I don't want to feel bad about my first set. So I found this horrible place called Marty's, which you pay $5 and they'll let you just like go for like 10 minutes. But I only had like a minute and a half of material, if that. They were like a bunch of half jokes that weren't funny. But it was great. There was no pressure. There was like 2 people in the audience. The host was like politely chuckling or whatever to support me. And then there was like 2 other comics like looking at their phone the whole time, which is how it is a lot of the time at open mics. People don't care. It's just other comics like waiting to go up. They're like, oh, okay. Oh, a Tinder match. Oh, good. But anyway, so yeah, after, I think I bombed for like 2 weeks. I just did like 1 open mic a week. And yeah, just weeks went by where I was bombing. And then I finally got my first laugh in this open mic in this Chinese restaurant called The Palace. And it was a really weird room. It was upstairs. It looked like an attic. And it's a bunch of comics sitting in the dark. And I just made some stupid joke that only comics would appreciate. And I finally got a laugh. And I was like, oh, I got to chase this feeling. It feels so good. But yeah, it's huge when you get your first laugh. It's just like, I don't know, it's a game changer. Because then you're like, wow, I might be able to actually do this. But yeah, it's weird that I've been afraid of rejection all my life and failing, but now I've like forced myself in a position where I have to deal with rejection and failure every week. It's like you have to bomb every week to get better because you're trying out new material, and it's not going to work the first time. Everyone's just going to be like, what? And you're like, the words don't come out right. You're just trying to get your ideas out there. You're saying it for the first time, so it's like clumsy. So you just end up just eating it, like set after set, just bombing and bombing, and you just want to prove to your peers, like, I promise I'm funny. Just hang in there with me. But then a lot of people are like, no, you're not funny. Nah, I don't want to talk to you. It's like high school all over again. You're just trying to make friends desperately, but it's just like you're awkward. But yeah, it's a blast though. The highs are worth it. The first 2 years really stink, but after that it gets really good because you know a lot of comedians by then. You're hanging out and there's a lot of camaraderie. But yeah, anyway.
Do you watch SNL?
I used to a lot growing up, not so much now. Yeah, for a while I was just like, man, I like sketch comedy, but I don't like how a lot of those sketches will go on for like 10 minutes. But the idea is, it's only worth a couple minutes, but they just milk it and milk it. And it's like, oh, come on, man, just end the sketch. But I think it's gotten better ever since the Lonely Island guys started making video shorts. I feel like the writing has gotten a lot better over the years. But yeah, I don't watch it too much though.
Who has been some of your inspirations in comedy?
Probably Steve Martin is number one. He had some really funny albums in the 70s. Wild and Crazy Guy is like probably my favorite comedy album of all time because he doesn't really do any personal material. I just like stupid. I like goofy. Sometimes his jokes are really smart, but then he'll just do like the dumbest stuff, and he's wearing bunny ears and like an arrow through the head on stage, and just like he would pretend to be like really arrogant and a jerk, and I don't know. There's something about that his absurd sense of humor I really clicked with. And then currently I think one of my favorite comedians is Sebastian Maniscalco, and he just started blowing up last year. He's like one of the top entertainers now, but he's a very physical comedian, very goofy. yeah, I like all that stuff. I don't really do any kind of like political or, I don't know. And none of my humor is very smart. It's just really stupid. But I like to be the butt of the joke.
How about like voices and stuff like that? When did you know like to like get comfortable and like start doing like voices and stuff?
Well, I mean, I don't really do impressions or anything. I just have one of those weird voices. It's funny you bring up voices because my friend told me, like, oh, you should do audiobooks. And I did audiobooks for like a year. And I only released 2 audiobooks, but they're out there on Audible. But I realized I wasn't very good at it. But there's 2 books out there. There's one called Zombies in Love and Dark Sanity, which are available on audible.com. So you can hear me do a terrible Australian accent. Because I was like, oh, I can do an accent, no problem. It was a bad idea. And I ended up insulting Australia with my horrible voice. But yeah, that was like just a couple years ago. I did audiobooks, and people said I should do like voiceover stuff, but I'm on a different path now. I'm just like, oh, I'm already doing stand-up comedy. Like I have to dedicate all my time to it now to like get anywhere.
So growing up, did you grow up with siblings?
Yeah, I have one older brother. His name is Barry. He was the one that talked a lot. He did all the talking for me, and he was obsessed with movies since he was a little kid. Like he started writing reviews since he was 7 years old, and he used to like work at this video store and pass out like his reviews to customers. He's just obsessed with movies, and now he's a film critic in Hawaii, and he reviews theater and he reviews movies, and now he's a film professor. Just amazing guy. And I think that's why I was obsessed with movies early on too, and why I wanted to be a filmmaker, and was just following in his footsteps.
What was your family's reaction when you told them you were going to get into comedy?
I think, you know what, they're not those parents that were really naysayers. I mean, they were pretty supportive of me through all my mistakes. So hopefully I think they see the progress. It's hard to make parents understand what you have to do in comedy. Like it's awkward telling your parents like, hey Dad, I bombed tonight, but I actually learned a lot from it. It's just like, it's not going to sound good to anyone. Like, oh good, you bombed? So when are you getting your Netflix special? Because everyone thinks like, everyone gets specials, right? Once you're a comedian, you get specials. It's just, it's hard to just make them understand. Like, it really is an investment of time. Like, I got to put years into this and just like, and keep getting better, and like, and you make all these small victories, but it just seems insignificant when you tell one of your parents that like, oh yeah, I got this show, I got this bar show, I got paid in gas money or pizza, and they're just like, oh great, how are you gonna support yourself? But yeah, luckily they've been behind me. My girlfriend is behind me. My future wife is behind me. Everyone's been really supportive and made it easy for me to do this, and I think that's why it's been getting so good, because I've been able to put so much time into it.
And have you had any? I had one comedian that said that I guess there are some audience members that'll try to interrupt you, but some of them maybe they're trying, I guess, desperately to feel part of the show or something like that.
Yeah, I just had that a couple nights ago. It's so frustrating when you just want to make them laugh, but they just want to interrupt you, and your whole rhythm is thrown off, and you have to make a choice, like, oh, do I talk to them or ignore them? But if I keep going on with the joke, I might have lost like the timing already. It's like because I already stopped and paused. So it's like, do I have to? That's the thing. If you give them more attention, they might not shut up. So it's just like you got to make a really quick decision. And sometimes I can't hold back my anger, where it comes off really aggressive. Just like, oh, you're gonna interrupt me? Oh, that's nice. That's nice. And then they look at me like, what's with this guy? I'm just trying to help here. I'm just trying to help the funny guy. It's just annoying because all the drunks like tend to think that they're funnier, so they'll start yelling out stuff. And they always try to buddy up to you. Like they'll ruin your set, and then later outside, they'll be like, "Hey man, I was just trying to help. Hey man, it's funny. We should." And then they'll like try to give me a joke or something like, "You should use that. You should use that. You talk about my uncle. You should use that." Like, I can't use that, bro. I can't use it. Nobody can use it. It's not funny. But you know, it's hard because a lot of people mean well, but when I take it so seriously, it's like, I want to make you guys laugh. Just give me a chance. I only get 5 minutes up here. I've been waiting 2 hours to do 5 minutes. Just give me a shot. But, you know, when you're drunk, your attention wavers. You're not thinking about, you know, stupid comedians. You're just like, I'm just trying to have a good time. I'm just trying to hit on Becky. She's been giving me the eye. I want to show her I'm funny, too. Can't let this comedian get all the laughs.
So tell me, when you started, and in order to try to get booked more and more, like, how did you get your name out there?
That's the thing. It's you go to all these open mics, and some of them are horrible, where like 2 people are watching you. But every once in a while, there's someone who books their own show. You'll just run into people that produce their own shows. And like, I went to a mic, only 2 people were watching me, and then this guy came up to me after. He's like, "Hey man, that was really funny. Do you want to do a bit on my show?" And I was like, "Yeah." So it could be at open mics. It could be at I don't know. You just meet a lot of people early on that are only like in comedy for a year or 2, and they might be producing a show already. It's just how it works. You run into people, and that's why it pays to be nice to everyone. You don't want to be a jerk to someone and then find out like, "Oh man, they booked this cool show. Why was I a jerk just because I thought like they were beneath me or I didn't like their comedy or something?" It's just like, first impressions are always bogus when it comes to the comedy scene. It's just like, you just got to start talking to people and you like really learn who they are instead of making judgments just from like one set that you watched. Anyway, rambling man.
So, when did you start? What was like the best advice you got from like comics while you were starting?
Best advice. I don't know. All the advice is very repetitive. You hear it over and over. Just get on stage. Keep going up. Keep going up. I mean, one comedian who's way more advanced than me. He's like a really good television actor, comedian. This guy Brian Scalero. We were outside the Comedy Store, and he just told me like, I told him like, "Oh yeah, I'm only been doing this like 2 or 3 years. I'm gonna move to Long Beach because that's where my girlfriend is." And he's like, "Don't do that. Don't move to Long Beach." It's like, "Why not?" He's like, "Don't move to Long Beach." That was like the one advice I got. But I moved to Long Beach and everything's fine. So what does he know? What does he know? I think he just meant like, you got to be in LA and do the grind and stick around and meet all these comedians up in LA, because I think Long Beach probably doesn't sound too promising for a comedy scene, but it's actually pretty good. And the Orange County scene's pretty good too. And that's where I go to most open mics. But I still go up to LA like once or twice a week and do open mics and stuff. But I think you can do it either way. You don't have to just be in Los Angeles.
And with the rise of like different social media platforms, has it helped you also with like, getting noticed and stuff?
A little bit. Well, I'll tell you what I do. I started this thing 3 years ago on Instagram called Open Mic Reviews. And so you can search Open Mic Reviews. I spent the last 3 years just taking pictures of open mics and just posting them for the comedians. And then I write like a short review, like how many minutes you get, like is there a 1 drink minimum, what is the sign-up process like, how is the host, like are they cool, where the parking is, all this stuff. Because a lot of comedians are afraid to drive for like an hour or 2 to an open mic that they don't know anything about. They're just like, I don't want to take that chance. So I think a lot of comedians stick to the 1 or 2 mics because they're just afraid to venture out of their comfort zone. And so with the Instagram that I've been doing, it just shows comedians what they're in for if they go to certain open mics. And I try to promote the ones that I really like, and I warn them about the open mics that are really weird or, just ugly and negative. It's a lot of, if you can imagine the open mic scene, it's insane. It's like a lot of dive bars, coffee shops, like restaurants. Some of the weirder ones I've done is like a boat mic. I've done the Scientology open mic because I was really curious. And then I did an open mic at a place that has AA meetings. And there's like a laundromat one that just started that I want to check out. There's a bunch of like clubs and yeah, there's comedy club open mics too, but you gotta hit them all. It's like, it just makes you stronger to just put yourself out there and just try every situation. Because it's kind of exciting to just venture into the unknown. So.
Cool. We'll be right back after this second commercial break.
Affordable, professional, and located on the second floor of the USU. Electric Hair has all of your nail and hair needs covered. For an appointment, call 562-958-4522. That's 562-958-4522.
As a college student on the campus of Cal State University in Longview, I'm sure many of us have
doing, Rob?
experienced
Good, yeah.
Okay.
Very funny.
Just want to make you happy, Rob. Just want to make you happy. The next morning, I went over to our student health services to get my ankle checked out. I filled out the necessary paperwork, and the student health services took care of it. The mission of student health services is to support students' physical and mental well-being through affordable quality health services and education. Student health services provide sensitive, confidential healthcare services to a diverse campus community. The fees of the student health services are included in our tuition. For more detailed information concerning student health services, search csuld.edu/SH.
Quiet on the set. Can we please have quiet on the set?
Hey, I'm Rob Flores, the host of the Golden Spotlight. Join me as I showcase a variety of guests.
I am what they refer to as an exoneree.
Hi, I am Carla Perez, otherwise known as Rita Repulsa, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, a television series.
As people have told me before, like, you're really funny, you should try stand-up. And that's probably how every comedian starts.
Took an EMT course 6 months later, and the next thing I know, I was a firefighter.
I do all my own music videos, I edit my music videos, I write the concepts for the most part, I direct the filming of it, etc. So I have a blast with it.
Every week, someone steps into the spotlight, and it's always a new story. So join me every Monday at 2 p.m. on 22 West Radio. You never know what we have in store. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Golden Spotlight. I'm your host, Rob Flores, here on 22 West Radio, located at California State University, Long Beach. Ladies and gentlemen, it is that time where, again, we remind our audience who's on the show.
Hi, I'm Marty Wurst. I'm a Long Beach comedian. I'm 38 years old.
So, we were mentioning, how you got your name out there. For those, again, who are just tuning in, how can they find you on social media?
You can search Marty Wurst. It's MartyWurst. So like the sausage, it's German. Or you can look up Open Mic Reviews, which is my other Instagram account, if you want to see all the crazy open mics that I review. And I have a website called martywurst.com, MartyWurst. And there's a bunch of helpful advice if you want to be a comedian. There's a ton of stuff that I write about just starting out, and all the different resources if you're going out of state and need an open mic, or if you want to just listen to my Steve Buscemi voicemail. It's on my website.
Cool. So tell me, how did the website come about?
I just want to have something fun where I could write about comedy and also share all my Instagram stuff, all the open mics that I reviewed, and just promote myself, put my videos up there, and it was just one of those Squarespace websites that I just built myself gradually over like a year. and it's pretty simple. Squarespace. But yeah, I don't know. Just wanted to put myself out there.
Ooh, cool.
Anybody can make a website. It's not a big deal.
All those symbols and stuff, the HTML and all that, it takes a lot of...
I don't do that stuff. Squarespace is like easy, because I'm stupid about that stuff. It's just like, oh, I can just click and drag. Ooh, that looks good. It's like Tetris. So.
Cool. So, has your family seen you on stage?
Oh man, yeah, they have. That's the problem. Like, I think everyone has really bad luck when they first invite their family out. I always hear bad stories, and my parents came out early on. I think my first year or second year wasn't a good set. People were heckling me. And then I went back to Hawaii. This is probably one of the worst bombings I've ever had too. I went back to Hawaii, and a lot of my high school friends and my brother was going to see me for the first time, and it was in a restaurant, but they said it was like a family restaurant. Like, you gotta be clean. You gotta do clean material, but after 9 o'clock it's okay. But it was weird because there was like no kids around. And I asked the audience, like, after a minute, I was like, do you guys want to hear a dirty joke? Like, are there any kids around? They're like, yeah, tell a dirty joke. I was like, you sure? And they're like, yeah. So I told a dirty joke, and they cut the microphone. And all of a sudden, I'm like standing on stage, the microphone's not working, and I just hear this music playing over me. I'm like, hey, what happened? What's going on? And the host comes up to me, he's like, you're done, bro. I was like, what? I'm like, sorry, you're done. The owner doesn't want you to do dirty material. And that was like 2 minutes into like a 10-minute set. And I just had to like walk off the stage without an outro. The music was just playing over me. It was like Dead Man Walking, just like, everyone was like, oh, what happened? What's with that comedian? You just got off after 2 minutes. Like, nobody knew what happened, but I was just like humiliated. So yeah, hopefully someday my family will see me do a good set. But, I have video clips that I send them, and they've been very supportive. So they kind of have seen me, but not live. They've only seen me bomb live. So hopefully someday.
Cool. So, did your girlfriend meet you by watching you on stage?
No way, man. That probably would have changed things drastically. She would probably not want to talk to me at all. No, we met on OkCupid because someone told me, like, oh, it's a free dating site. So I was like, okay. And luckily, I only met one person before I met Claire, my fiance. I had one nightmare relationship that was over within 2 months, and then I met Claire, and everything was cool. I started stand-up around the time I met Claire, maybe a couple months after I met her. So she's been with me since the beginning with this stand-up stuff. She's been like a huge supporter and helping me promote myself, and it's so important to have someone that supports you and loves you when you come home from like failing every week. I just feel horrible about myself, my self-esteem, and I'm just like, oh, I don't know if I'm funny, baby. I don't know if I can keep going. And she's like, you're fine. You just keep doing it. So it's nice to have that kind of backup. You need it.
Cool. So yeah, that's what I was gonna mention too. Like, who do you run by when you're first coming up with like jokes, like to check if you should use them?
Well, I mean, I've been writing most of my life. I've written comedy and sketch comedy, so I always felt like the writing has always been there. I just had to learn how to perform as a stand-up. That was like a new thing, and it took a long time for me to get comfortable, and I'm still figuring it out. But every once in a while, I'll try a joke to my girlfriend, and it's so hard because bombing in front of someone you love is like the worst thing in the world. But she understands. I'm just trying out new ideas. They're not really fleshed out. They're not really, they're not polished yet. So, but it just sucks when she's just like staring at me after I told her what I think is a joke. She's like, well, there might be something there. And I'm just like, there's nothing there. I'm horrible. Why do you love me? But then sometimes she laughs out loud at something I don't think she's gonna laugh at all. I'm just like, oh, you're probably not gonna think this is funny, but I've been saying this. And she's like, ah, ha, ha, ha. And I'm like, oh, really? You think that's funny? All right, I'll try it. So she's very honest, which is what you need. You can't have someone just like laughing at everything you say because they don't want to hurt your feelings. Like, you need someone that's just brutally honest. And yeah. And when Claire's not around, I do it for my cat. And my cat's always neutral, so it's nice. She's usually just staring and purring. So I'm just like, cool, this might work. I don't need Claire.
I'm just imagining also like some people having some Millhouse moments in Simpsons where somebody like laughs and like something comes out their nose at the same time while they're drinking.
Oh man, yeah, I think I've had someone do a spit take before. Man, that feels amazing when you can get someone to spit out their drink. You really feel like God. Like, I'm a comedy god. No one can touch me. I just made them spew out their milk. Or whatever. Who's drinking milk? But yeah, I think sometimes I run stuff by my comedy friends, but not too much. I usually just try it at open mics. That's what open mics are for, so.
So I have a usual question I ask my guests.
Okay.
It's a two-part question. It's where do you see yourself after retirement, and then what would you like your legacy to be?
Oh man. After retirement, I don't know. Like a lot of the comedians that I love, they go until they croak. They just keep performing. I don't know if there is retirement for comedy, but I mean, I would like to retire in Hawaii someday. If I'm just not up for traveling anymore, I would love to just kick back where I grew up, because I mean, there's nothing like it. I love Hawaii, and my legacy. I don't know. It's tough. I mean, if people still search my stupid YouTube videos, I know that sounds horrible. I still want to. It just makes me feel good to know that occasionally someone's still laughing at something I did. That makes me feel really good. I know it seems small, but I don't know. It means the world to me that I'm obsessed when I make someone laugh. I mean, I have a huge ego about that. I feel so proud of myself. So, and even in death, I'll just be like, they thought that was funny. Oh, gotta go. I'm gonna go back to help out Jesus. I don't know, but. Just be stalking people that are searching my YouTube. Like, you think that's funny? Yeah. It's a weird ghost. It just wants validation.
What about like the naysayers? What are they called? Trolls online?
Oh man, luckily I haven't had to deal with that yet. Like no one's like obsessed with my like comedy or anything. I don't have like a huge fan base yet. Like only comedians know who I am right now. So I'm in a good spot where I don't have to deal with trolls. But I mean, I feel like it's so easy to get engaged with them and like, you know, and just waste hours arguing with those people. It's like that's their lives. Like I can't compete with that. I'll never win. So I just got to remind myself like, I can't talk to them because like there's no winning here. Although part of me still wants to. It's hard to resist battling people online. But I like the people that are just nice no matter what. Like some comedians just respond with niceness no matter what. Just like, oh, that's nice, have a good day. I think it's funny when people just react positively to trolls. I don't think trolls know how to respond to just like never-ending kindness.
And throughout the time that you've done comedy, has there ever been a time where all of a sudden like you wing it and you totally like change your set all of a sudden?
All the time. Sometimes it's just seconds before I get on stage. Sometimes it's when I take a pause after a joke and I'll look at the audience and I'm like, they're not with me. I gotta do a short joke. I gotta get them quick because they just sat through 5 minutes of nothing they liked. So yeah, I'll sabotage my set all the time and I'll go off my plan. Like I'll have this plan and then I'll be like, oh, I guess I'm not doing that. But yeah, it's hard. I like to try to stick with the stuff I want to practice, but sometimes you want to be liked so bad. So sometimes I'm just like, oh, I gotta go. I gotta do an old joke because I gotta get them to laugh. Like I can't just leave like this. This is too painful. But sometimes I don't care, and I'll take the bombing, and I'll just stick to my plan. But I don't know. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to just stick to your set list.
Is there a difference between like the audience here and like maybe like in other towns or something like that? Have you seen something like totally different?
Just a little bit. I mean, there's always going to be differences politically if you go out of town with just, but I don't do political humor, so I don't really have to worry about that. But I did notice in Seattle, people were a little more sensitive. Long Beach, people are pretty sensitive. You got to be really careful about what you say. But I mean, a lot of comedians are, crazy, misogynistic, and homophobic. I mean, I understand why people are sensitive because there's a lot of scumbag comedians out there that are not funny and just want to offend people. So I get it. But yeah, that's the good thing about going to like a comedy club. Everyone's pretty much on board with whatever you're going to say. They're out to have a good time. But when you go to shows that are like in bars or something like that, you never know what's going to offend people. It's just kind of, yeah. Shows outside of comedy clubs are kind of the wild cards. You don't know if you're going to offend someone. But yeah, and a lot of comedians do 9/11 jokes and stuff like that. Like I had a 9/11 joke early on, and I thought it was really clever at the time, and I was kind of proud of it. I was like, oh, this is kind of a really stupid 9/11 joke that doesn't make fun of the actual tragedy. But then, every once in a while it would hurt someone's feelings, and I was just like, you know what, it's not worth it. It's like, I'm not out to hurt anyone, and I'm not like that arrogant a comedian where I'm like, oh, they just don't understand my jokes. Like, I'm gonna do it no matter what. Like, I don't care enough about one joke to keep doing it forever. It's like, I'd rather make people happy, so. And it's a cheap joke. Like, everyone does like 9/11 jokes or Holocaust jokes and stuff. I'm just like, I don't even need that stuff. So.
Have you ever thought about like entering like those competitions of like there was this one TV show, Last Comic Standing and stuff like that?
I think I would now. I don't think I'm the right comedian for it. I think people would hate me. But I would love to audition. I think it'd be kind of fun to try. And not to say I can't do like clean material, because I do clean material, but I just don't think that kind of show would connect with my sense of humor. I think they'd just be like, yeah, this guy's not, like, he doesn't have a good story. Like, I feel like they want a good story and like a really eccentric kind of personality, or someone who's like larger than life. I think I'm way too like, I don't know, low key and maybe emo rocker guy or something. I don't know. I feel like they would try to label me, but it wouldn't work. So, but I mean, that show's awesome. I mean, I like all these opportunities for comedians.
Yeah, I also see comedians on what is that one called? America's Got Talent.
Oh yeah. I mean, that show, I don't think I would even make it to the judging part, because those guys really want a story. They just like want an interesting background and like a triumphant kind of, or they want like someone to fail miserably. That's just like makes it a huge viral clip, or I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of good stand-up on that show. I think Last Comic Standing is more of a comedian's kind of show. But anyway, but with that said, I would probably still audition. It'd be kind of fun to try.
Where do you see yourself in the future?
I mean, I started touring a little bit. I mean, I got to put another 5 years into this at least, because I'm only 5 years in. And this is where it starts to get kind of fun and interesting, and I've got a bunch of friends, and it's fun to hit the road with them. So I think things are just going to get better and better. And I work at a comedy club, and that helps. And just meeting people, you meet a lot of cool headlining comedians that have been doing it for 10, 20, 30 years. So I'm just going to stick to my guns, keep going, and and just hopefully keep on the laughter path, as they say. Nobody says that, but I'm going to keep to the laughter path. I'm going to coin that phrase. No, I'm broke. Help me.
One of the things I like to do is, I always say that you never know who could be listening, and chances are there's a student who, the particular guest that they're listening to happens to be the person that has the career that they want and stuff. So, what tips do you have for someone that wants to follow in your footsteps?
For this specific career? Or?
Yeah.
All right, Timmy, Jenny, listen closely. There's nothing to be afraid of. All you got to do is sign up at an open mic and see what you, if you enjoy it, any part of it, then there's a good chance you might enjoy doing it forever. No, I say do it for at least a year and take it seriously. Do it a few times a week if you can. And then after a year, you can make a decision, like, do I want to keep going? Because in a year, you will know if the highs and lows are worth it for you. But if you're struggling the whole time and it's just agony every time you get off stage, or you just can't, or people are just mean, or, you know, and you're just not getting any joy out of it, you could just, I would just say do something else. But if you're still excited about comedy after a year, then just keep going, because it gets better and you make more friends. And it's like all the best things about high school, where you have a cool group of friends and you just laugh harder than you've ever laughed before. But now you get to do that as a career. You just hang out with funny people and just make people laugh. And yeah, there's just nothing like it. I mean, comedy is amazing. And even if you don't, end up doing stand-up forever, you might end up with a writing job or something on a cool comedy show, or maybe you'll do sketch comedy or improv. It's just like, it doesn't hurt to just try stand-up, because it might lead you to something else that you enjoy too. So go for it, Timmy, Jenny. I believe in you.
So speaking of high school, in movies and stuff, you have like these like typical like cliques where like you see like the nerds at one table, the rockers at another. Where did you identify during lunch?
Oh man, I think I was like, because it's funny in Hawaii, everyone was like under different like trees, hanging out, and there was like the drama nerds. I was like the theater nerd that would hang out in the theater room, and as much as I wanted to be part of like whatever the other groups, but I was pretty much a loser. I didn't know how to talk to people. I was just awkward. But yeah, I was definitely in the theater nerds. Some emo, some emo kind of people too, and like into like I wanted to be cast in like musicals and stuff like that. And but yeah, just where all the rejects were, basically. So those are my people. If you feel like an outsider, you're not alone.
So we're winding down the last few minutes of the show. Any closing statement?
Closing statement. Hey, if you're really seriously thinking about doing stand-up, feel free to contact me online. Once again, I'm Marty Wurst, MartyWurst, and my website is martywurst.com. You can look up information about starting stand-up, or you can just shoot me an email anytime. All my info is on the website.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to be here on the Golden Spotlight.
All right. Thank you, Rob.